Lists everywhere. It's a Minisode. Hit it. What's up, dudes and dudettes? I'm your host, Jerry D, with the second mini episode of Totally Rad Christmas, the podcast that talks all things Christmas in the 80s. Toys, movies, specials, music, and fads. If it was gnarly during Christmas in the 80s, we got it covered. Now, today is very special because it is our second mini episode. So normally I do about 65 to 75 minute episode, but due to work and other factors, we're doing another mini episode. It's been 10 episodes, and it means it's that time again. So we're going to start off the way we always start off and check in with SD Kluger's mail truck and open some letters to Santa. So the first one's from Todd from Missouri, who says, Voltron versus the Transformers Devastator. Which was the better toy? Which wins in a fight? Excellent question, Todd. That's a tough one because I only had the Voltron toy and only, I think, the right leg, which was the bulldozer of the Devastator, the Transformers Devastator. So for those of you that don't know, Devastator was a combining Transformer. In other words, it had 5 different robots that would form one giant robot. And so it was pretty cool. Voltron, same thing. It was 5 lion robots that would join to form one fighting robot. Super fighting robot. Nope, that's a different guy. So, which was a better toy? Well, because I only had one, I would have to say Voltron. It was a rad toy, and it lasted a long time. It was super cool. But, who doesn't like Voltron? Which wins in a fight? Well, see, that's kind of tough, because Voltron had to fight all those robeasts, and he would always win. But he never fought like a fully fledged, cybernetic organism that I can think of. But then Voltron had the blazing sword, which was pretty rad. So I think I'm going to have to go Voltron on this one. I think he could really stomp the other guy. Plus, lions are just cooler than construction vehicles, man. That's how it works. So Todd, that's my answer. Next up, we have Tom from Oklahoma. What was your favorite outside toy in the 80s, and why was it the slip and slide? I love it when people word questions that way, just these leading questions. Actually, my favorite outside toy of the 80s was a slip and slide, although it was really close between that and a huge trampoline that my aunt had for all of us cousins to play on. I mean, it was crazy huge. You could get, I don't know how many of us on it on a time. And of course you could double jump and things like that, which was super cool. But I actually really like the slip and slide. Although I gotta say, I don't think I ever got enough forward momentum because I never quite slid as far as they did in those commercials. So I don't know if they put some extra oil or something to make those guys just really slick or what, but I just could not get that hydroplaning down. So yeah, I really did enjoy the slip and slide. Oh, follow-up question from Tom. He says, did Santa wrap your presents as a kid? Or was he so lazy and didn't love you as much as other kids in the neighborhood? So it's funny you mentioned that because I did live in South Texas. And so by the time Santa got to our place, he just didn't have enough time to wrap the presents. And so, no, he did not wrap presents. I wouldn't say he was lazy. I think, you spend a lot of energy. I mean, it takes a ton of energy to bend space and time. And he uses all that power to make kids happy. So if he's got to not wrap presents just to make sure that he gets the job done, well, heck, he goes around the whole world in one night. So I'm okay with that. And you know what? It was actually really special because I could tell right away which ones were from Santa and which ones were from Mom and Dad. So I'd get up at 4:30 or 5 in the morning, run to the living room. The tree would be there and the lights were on. It was just amazing because it was completely dark other than the lights of the tree. And there were all the wrapped presents under the tree that my parents had put out. And then, kind of aside, there was in 3 different piles for each one of my brothers and I, there was our unwrapped presents from Santa with our stocking just completely bursting at the seams, laying right on top of them. So it was really special because right away we knew what it was that we got, and we knew if our wish from our letters to Santa had been fulfilled. So, nope, he was not lazy. He just, by the time he got to South Texas, he was just, running out of steam at that point. So, all right. Next, we have Brian from Utah. If you could bring back one childhood toy to open this Christmas, what would it be? And he goes on to say, for me, it would be my proton pack from Ghostbusters I got for Christmas in 1990, in which Vinny Brzezinski, another listener, said the G.I. Joe jet where the wings moved in and out was his choice. Although I think he's talking about the Sky Striker, and yeah, that was a pretty awesome toy there. I remember the Sky Striker, one of my favorites. But for me, my answer would be Castle Grayskull. And I remember, which I couldn't have been more than 4, but I remember seeing it and it was amazing. So I would love to have a complete, mint condition Castle Grayskull waiting for me under the Christmas tree again. I do have my Castle Grayskull. It is definitely not in mint condition. It's I wouldn't even say it's good quality, but my kids still love playing with it, so that warms my heart. Now, Chris from New York said, should Voltron have been wrapped in 5 separate boxes? And then he had a follow-up question as well, is what do you think about companies like Fisher-Price re-releasing nostalgic toys from our childhoods? Do you think kids these days even care? Those are some good questions, and let's take them one by one. So should Voltron have been wrapped in 5 separate boxes? Well, I tell you what, as a kid, I would have loved opening all 5 boxes. You love opening things when you're little. You're just ripping it open and then seeing what's inside and then just knowing that it's the next one and which line is this going to be? I think it would have been awesome. As an adult, now that I'm a dad and I have the job of cleaning up after all the mess that the kids make, I got to say, 1 box is just fine. But as to your second question about companies like Fisher-Price re-releasing nostalgic toys, you know what? I'm actually kind of cool with that. I think it's really neat. I don't think the kids care about it, but I think if you get them young enough that you really make them care, which is really cool. You can play with that same Fisher-Price phone that you had when you were a kid, or the cash register, or whatever else it might be. And I think that is a really, really cool thing, just to be able to have that kind of that shared experience, with your child. It's neat. But do I see an older kid wanting to a toy like that? No, I don't. Especially when you got things like Nintendo, the Switch now. I don't even remember what it's called now. But when you got stuff like that, who wants a Fisher-Price, telephone? But I do think it's really cool. And I think if you get them young enough, I think they'll think it's really cool too. And on that note, we're going to end and close up SD Kluger's mailbag there. So that was a fun little thing. There's a few more, but we're going to save them for next time. Now, here's something that I don't normally do, a shout out. So a shout out is where I read something, or there's just something that I heard that I think is really cool, and I just want to bring it to everyone's attention. And so the first is that on August 7th, we had the birthday of Romeo Muller, who is the writing genius for Rankin Bass. Although I'm sure there are several listeners out there who thinks that he was more of a writing maniac. But either way, he is responsible for many of the Rankin Bass Christmas specials. And I know he passed away in 92 on December 30th, but it was it would have been his birthday August 7th. And so I think it's something that I really have to bring out and just kind of mention. The other shout out I want to give is that Knight Rider is going to be rebooted to the big screen by TJ Fixman. He's going to be writing it. He's mostly known for video games, so I'm a little nervous, but I know he has a passion for Knight Rider, so that kind of makes me feel a little bit better. I'm very excited because not only did I just cover the Christmas episode of Knight Rider with the Saturday Morning Mafia, but I hope that they have the Hoff in it. And I mean, even if he just appears and gives like a throwaway line, then I think that automatically raises it like one Hoff, the level. So, yeah, I just wanted to give those two things a quick shout out. But it's time for some suggestions. Now, several listeners have, throughout the months that I've been doing this, have been, given suggestions here and there. And I want to say that my favorite so far has been from Jason Rhodes. You might remember him from the Dukes of Hazzard episode, who suggested we do Berenstain Bears and Little House on the Prairie. And you know what? I think both of those are dope ideas, especially the Berenstain Bears. I mean, who doesn't want to do Berenstain Bears? They're so wholesome and cool, but also funny. So yeah, we're definitely going to get to that. Little House on the Prairie might be a little bit further down the line, but we will eventually get to both of those. Now, Todd from Missouri actually suggested Magnum P.I. and the Christmas episode there. And I think that is also another dope idea. I can't wait to do that one. I mean, Magnum P.I. was like just awesome, Tom Selleck was like a man's man, and you wanted to be Tom Selleck. It was cool. I don't think his Indiana Jones would have been better than Harrison Ford's, but I think it would have been as enjoyable, or almost as enjoyable. But his Magnum P.I. was pretty rad. So yeah, we're definitely going to cover those. And you know what, guys? If you want to hop on those episodes, just give me a buzz. You know where to find me. On to our topic for the night. Now, normally I cover the topic and, I have all my little segments. And in our first mini episode, we covered John Williams' score to Home Alone, even just a tad. I'm eventually going to do a full in-depth, musical breakdown of it. But tonight, we're actually doing two different things. The first, which I really like, is I gave y'all some assignments and some homework, and y'all really stepped up to the plate. So I get two questions. And the first was, what's the most recognizable intro to a Christmas movie or special? And it seems that everyone really responded, and the winner, I don't know if there's really a winner, but at least the one voted for most was Home Alone, Christmas Vacation, and Charlie Brown Christmas. Those ones really have the most votes there. And you know what? I agree. I mean, Christmas Vacation, you have that whole cartoon intro, which had been done quite a bit in the 80s, but that year there was three of them. And I mean, who doesn't like Santa with a candy cane just sliding down a string of lights? So there's that one. Then you have Charlie Brown, another iconic intro. I mean, Christmas Time Is Here by Vince Guaraldi. It's one of those songs that, it's got that nice light jazz. It's amazing. Of course, Vince Guaraldi, infamous for not playing the root in the chord, but you leave that up to the bass player. And so he kind of really set the mood there. So that's another one that just right away, as soon as you hear it, it's a Christmas movie. It's going to be good. And then Home Alone was another very popular one, which again, I think is a great choice. I mean, you have that, the little house, and then of course John Williams' score, as I talked about last mini episode, but then you also have the allusions to the Somewhere in My Memory. I mean, it's brilliant stuff. So there were a lot of other votes that I thought were really good. Some honorable mentions. Some people said Elf. They had a few. White Christmas also had a shout out. Nightmare Before Christmas. Someone said The Grinch. I mean, these are all just great choices, but I mean, by far the ones with the most votes were Charlie Brown and Home Alone. So great job, guys. Now, the second assignment that I gave y'all was we're going to make an 80s Christmas mixtape. And I said, all right, let's name them. We'll put them together and we'll get it all done. And so here is our 80s Christmas mixtape. We start off with bum bum bum, Bruce Springsteen's Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Is that controversial? Yeah, but you know what? I like it. So we're starting off with it. Christmas Wrapping was another one, which I really had only known it by the waitresses, but according to Marshall Kraft, there was even a version of it by Save Ferris. So you know what? I think that's pretty rad, and I haven't been able to track down that version yet, but I really, really want to. Save Ferris were not my favorite group, but you know what? I did enjoy some of their stuff, so I could really see how that'd be pretty neat. So I'm excited for that one. After that, we are going with Underneath the Christmas Tree by Bill Lloyd. Again, not one that I had known, but Alonso Duralde, he's the one that suggested that, and I think he's spot on with that. But only if we seg into Do They Know It's Christmas? Now, I kind of wanted to save that towards the end. I think that would have been like a nice, just big finish. But something I felt like I needed to just put it in right now at this particular moment to kind of just get that momentum going. After that, I thought maybe Wonderful Christmas Time by Paul McCartney, which again, I know a lot of people have, it's kind of like a love-hate thing. You either really like it or you really hate it. It's not my favorite, but I don't mind it. And especially because around here, when you get into the holiday season, you hear it all the time. So that part gets annoying, but something about those opening synth chords also that as soon as you hear it, you know it's Christmas. And so I kind of like it because of that. So we'll go from there, and then we'll seg into a different Beatles song, the John and Yoko's Happy Christmas. But from there, because I really don't like that one, we'll go to Christmas in Hollis and just kind of, boom, slam, bring it back down. Now, after that, we got several people were asking for Dolly Parton's Hard Candy Christmas. Not my favorite, but you know what? Dolly Parton's pretty great, so I think we're going to throw that one on next, followed by Christmas is the Time to Say I Love You by Billy Squier. And, which, by the way, I did see him in concert, and it was pretty terrible. I mean, his guitar playing was on point, but his showmanship was not great. But you know what? If you can play guitar like that, who cares what your showmanship is like? So, rock on, Billy Squier. After that, we got to do the Pogues with Fairy Tale of New York. And honestly, I would like to hear, and this is my own personal pick thrown in now, I would really like to hear Sting's version of Gabriel's Message. It's kind of like a Basque hymn kind of a thing, and I really enjoy Gabriel's Message, but Sting's version, for some reason, is that you kind of have this counter melody going on, and it's really cool. So I would like to throw that in there before we get to Driving Home for Christmas, which is another great one. And from there, we're going to go with one that I don't know, so I'm not even sure if I put the placement right, but it was Merry Christmas Everyone by Slade, and that was actually Vinny Brzezinski's suggestion. So Vinny, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to listen to it. That's why we're doing a mini episode. I just got busy. Sorry, man. But I'm going to trust you, and so I'm going to throw that in right there. And I think we're going to move on from there into something a little bit funnier and quirkier and go with Bob and Doug with the 12 Days of Christmas. Good old Bob and Doug McKenzie from the Great White North up in Canada. Why not? I mean, I enjoy it. It's funny, and it's definitely Christmas. Now, here is where we get to something special. And I would go Last Christmas by Wham, just because, it's one of those that you gotta have. And I think that would be a great, great closer. So that is our Christmas 80s mixtape. Take it or leave it. Did I leave anything out? Let me know. You can reach us on our Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, and all that, or also on Discord as well. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys. What do you think about my 80s mixtape? Would you change anything? Maybe the order? I don't know. But if you would, hey, let me hear about it. So now it's time to go. But before we do, I'm going to leave you with these little teasers right here. Next week, we have Mike and Rusty from Snow in Southtown podcast with a claymation Christmas celebration. That's right. We get into it. And you know what? We even kind of steal to the podcast thing and we rank them. Sorry, guys. I love y'all. That's why I'm stealing it. After that, Tom Crow from Tis the Podcast and I, we talk The Caroliers, which was a part of Tom's childhood growing up in the 80s. And yeah, there is a disco connection there. And yeah, we're not going to talk about it very much. I mean, it's disco. What do you expect? Week after that, we got holiday shopping and wish books with Vinny Brzezinski. He and I really get into, we talk about, when they come in the mail and you circle all the ones you want. Sometimes you might even cut them out and put them on a page, just glue them on or something. I mean, there was all sorts of things you do. So we talk about that along with holiday shopping in general, things like, Kmart and layaways and all that. So much fun. Week after that, again, really exciting. John and Ben from Santa by the Minute podcast and I, we really get into Santa Claus the movie. That's like their whole bread and butter. That's the one they love. And so we had a fun time just talking all about it as a whole instead of dissecting it with info like they do on their show. And I think they enjoyed talking about it as well. And then after that, we have Saved by the Bell with Lyle and Lassa from It's a 90s Christmas Podcast. Crossover! So that one, I'm really looking forward to that one as well. Saved by the Bell was one of my favorites, and so when we get into it, we really get into it. And then after that, we have another really great one, Rudolph's Shiny New Year with Craig Kringle. Wait, didn't that debut in 76? Yeah, but there's an 80s connection, and you'll see how when we get into it. So we got a great slate of items coming up, and I just can't wait for y'all to hear them. But it's time for me to say goodbye. And so I'm going to say, if you want to support Totally Rad Christmas, I can share our page on all of our media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and give us a review on iTunes. I mean, not only does it help us reach more people, but you'll also get a free sticker. And who doesn't like free stickers? Now, I have to say, as always, later, dudes.